Be good. You don't have to be great, just be good. This is the parting advice given to me by my best friend's father, and honestly, probably to countless others. Though he seems to speak this simple, straightforward message to me with more deliberacy, as if knowing I would challenge this advice. And he was right. He knows me, probably too well. I would think, why settle for good when you can do something great? What does being good even mean? Though, in spite of my stubbornness, I felt the wisdom and the comfort and the intentionality of these words, this reminder to be good. And to me, it felt like an antidote to these big feelings of overwhelm. And so, as I prepared to move to Portland and immerse myself in a year of service, I cling to these two little words, be good. My placement at Street Roots felt more right to me than anything. I found the concept of a street paper so innovative and incredibly important in its capacity to provide low barrier income opportunities for folks experiencing homelessness and poverty. Yet, I couldn't help but think, what the heck am I doing? I was so nervous, and I had been so isolated from the reality of homelessness in this country for so long. So I thought, how could I be of any help being so naive? I hadn't taken any classes on homelessness or housing insecurity, and in my academic oriented brain, that meant I didn't have nearly a well enough understanding of this issue to be enough for the community in this organization. 3 years prior, when I visited the city, I witnessed the enormity of the homelessness crisis in Oregon, an injustice that is so visible in the hundreds of tents pitched on city streets and in the sea of blue tarps hung to keep away the Portland rains. It felt like my presence would just be futile in the face of such a daunting and devastating issue. But I pulled myself out of these worries by reminding myself to just be good and the power that lies in that. I didn't have to be an expert on homelessness, but I knew that I could commit to showing up each day with intentionality, an open heart, listening ears, and a dedication to supporting our Street Roots vendors. I didn't have to be great, but I knew I could be good for each person that I served alongside. But it is hard, and I often start to question the enoughness of being good. Serving alongside such a vulnerable and trauma-exposed population in an environment where the evidence of society's failures are visible on every street corner makes me feel so helpless sometimes. One image that I'll never shake is of wet sock prints on a sidewalk in Old Town and knowing that someone had just walked by with cold, wet socks on shoeless feet. And sometimes the world's injustices just feel too big and too much, and I wonder if I'm doing enough. But I recently saw a tweet by a person named Ursula Wolf Roca, and they totally validated my anxieties and acknowledged how overwhelming it can be to witness and experience all of the injustices of a moment all at once. But they noted that the good news is that all of these injustices are all connected. And they wrote, so in your little corner of work, if that involves pulling at one of the strings, then that means you're helping to unravel the whole cloth. And that stuck with me. Reading that felt like taking a deep breath. Over the past several months, I've learned that at their very core, meaningful service and social justice work rest in the act of showing up, being good, and knowing that you're doing something. And so I want to share with you some pieces of good from my last week. And they look like doing a happy dance with a vendor at the front desk after he told me that he just got into housing. Greeting every vendor by name, and their dogs too, trading bad jokes with a vendor each time that I sell the papers to him, being a scribe for someone who isn't proficient at writing so that their words can be read and heard too, exchanging childhood stories at the coffee station, and taking a photo of a vendor with the keys to his new place. So in truth, it's the little things that added together work to unravel that cloth that's tangled up with injustices. In that way, to be good in the face of so much harm is, I think, a radical act. And so in your life and in your service, be good. Show up and offer your steady, authentic presence. Bear witness without judgment and cultivate grace. And understand that building relationships and working together is something that is powerful and sacred. And trust that the cloth is there. So keep tugging at that thread in your own corner, in your own sphere of influence, and be good. Thank you. Happy 10 years, Sturzl Center.